The morning sun cast long shadows across the training yard as Marcus Sullivan swept the barracks floor, his weathered hands gripping the broom handle with the same precision he once used to grip a rifle. At 68, with silver hair and a slight limp from an old injury, he had become part of the scenery at Fort Henderson. Just another maintenance worker the young recruits barely noticed, 3 fresh-faced soldiers, lounged near the equipment shed, their laughter cutting through the crisp autumn air. Private Jake Morrison, barely 21, nudged his companions as Marcus approached. "Hey, old-timer, you miss a spot over there," he called out, pointing to an already pristine section of concrete. The others snickered, and Marcus simply nodded, redirecting his path without a word. But what these young soldiers didn't know would soon change everything. If you've ever judged someone too quickly, you'll want to hear what happens next. And if this story touches your heart, don't forget to like and subscribe, because the ending will leave you speechless. This had become routine. The young men saw only what stood before them, an elderly janitor in worn coveralls, moving slowly through his mundane tasks. They didn't see the medals tucked away in a box at his modest apartment, or the commendations gathering dust in a drawer. Marcus had specifically requested this quiet position after retiring from active duty, seeking anonymity and peace after decades of service. He wanted to fade into the background, to simply exist without the weight of his past, but fate had other plans. During an equipment inspection, Private Morrison discovered a jammed rifle that had been cleared for use. In his inexperience and arrogance, he assured his sergeant it was fine, that he could handle it. The sergeant, trusting the young soldier's word, approved it for the next day's live fire exercise. Marcus overheard the exchange while emptying trash bins nearby. His blood ran cold. He recognized the symptoms Morrison described. It wasn't a simple jam, but a critical firing pin issue that could cause a catastrophic malfunction. Someone could die. He approached the sergeant quietly after the privates left, his voice steady and calm. "Sir, with respect, that weapon needs immediate armory attention. The firing pin housing is compromised." The sergeant, young himself and new to Fort Henderson, bristled at what he perceived as an overstepping janitor. "I think I know my job." "You stick to yours." Marcus tried again, more forcefully this time, but was dismissed with a wave. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. At dawn, he arrived at the base commander's office, still in his coveralls, and requested an immediate audience. The surprised staff tried to turn him away until Marcus quietly said, "Tell Colonel Phillips that Sullivan needs to speak with him. He'll understand." Now, pause for just a moment and ask yourself, have you ever met someone whose quiet strength changed your perspective on life? That's exactly what's about to happen here. Hit that like button if you're feeling this story, because what comes next is incredible. 5 minutes later, Marcus sat across from the colonel, who looked at him with recognition and respect. "It's been a long time, sir," the colonel said, and Marcus explained the situation. Within the hour, the rifle was pulled from rotation. The armory confirmed Marcus's assessment. The weapon would have exploded upon firing. The following morning, the entire recruit company assembled for what they assumed was routine formation. Colonel Phillips stood before them, with Marcus beside him, no longer in coveralls but in a crisp uniform bearing insignia that made the young soldier's eyes widen. 4 stars gleamed on his shoulders. "This is General Marcus Sullivan," the colonel announced, "former commander of Special Operations, recipient of 3 Silver Stars, 2 Purple Hearts, and the Distinguished Service Cross. He retired 5 years ago and specifically requested to work here quietly, wanting to serve in a different capacity. Yesterday he saved Private Morrison's life and possibly others." Private Morrison's face drained of color as the general's eyes met his. But instead of anger, Marcus's expression held only quiet dignity. "I didn't come back to be saluted or recognized," he said, his voice carrying across the silent yard. "I came back because service takes many forms. Sweeping floors, maintaining equipment, keeping watch, these matter just as much as leading troops. Every task has dignity. Every person deserves respect. Don't judge someone's worth by what you think you see. The person you mock today might be the one who saves your life tomorrow." He paused, letting his words sink in. "Now, let's get back to work. As the formation dissolved, Morrison approached Marcus, shame and gratitude written across his young face. Marcus extended his hand. "We all start somewhere, son. Just remember this." And in that simple gesture, a lesson was learned that no classroom could teach. If this story reminded you to look beyond the surface and treat every person with dignity and respect, then it has served its purpose. We all encounter people every day whose stories we know nothing about, whose sacrifices we cannot see, whose struggles remain invisible. The next time you're tempted to judge someone by their appearance or position, remember General Sullivan sweeping that floor with the same honor he once led soldiers into battle. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it today. Leave a comment telling us about a time when someone surprised you with their hidden strength or wisdom. And if you believe that respect and kindness matter, subscribe to this channel, because we're building a community that celebrates the extraordinary in the ordinary. Thank you for being here, and remember, everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Choose kindness. Choose respect always.